Let's build this computer. For the past 3 to 4 years, I've always wanted an upgrade to my computer. This year, I finally decided I would bite the bullet and build my own. The parts I have in my computer are an Intel Core i9-14900K CPU, a 4060 Ti for my GPU, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, a 2TB SSD, an NZXT all-in-one cooler, the Kraken 240 to be specific, the C1000 NZXT power supply, and I put it all together in the NZXT H9 Elite case. This build took me around a day and a half to complete, and part of the reason for this is because I had to get my build area set up and find a way to record the time-lapse. Building a computer is actually not as hard as it looks. It's pretty self-explanatory for most of the process, but when I needed to, I turned to the Linus Tech Tips Ultimate PC Building Guide for help. As long as you take your time and don't do anything dumb, it's a relatively easy process. If you're wondering why I am building outside of the case first, it is because it would be easier to troubleshoot if anything happened to go wrong than it would have been if I had it in the case. This PC is a massive upgrade from my old one. It will run games a lot better, and it'll also help in the editing process because it is just way faster overall. My old PC only had 8 gigs of RAM and a GTX 760 graphics card. Once this PC is built, it is going to be like a whole new experience playing games on it. Now came the time to turn it on for the first time. We did some questionable electrician tactics to turn it on outside of the case, but it all worked out fine. Once it was powered on, I looked through the BIOS to make sure that everything was being recognized by the system, and then this happened. Okay, it's time to turn it off. Where's the off button? This is the face of a person who thought they had just bricked their new $3,000 PC. After that very scary process, I realized that in order to properly take a look at the BIOS for long enough, and not brick my CPU in the process, I needed to install my cooler. I don't know how I didn't think of this before, but I didn't. So I undid some of my work in order to fit the cooler on properly and then put it back together. So now that the cooler was installed, it all should work properly. And it did. I took a look through the BIOS and made sure that all of my parts were being recognized, and fortunately, they were. Now that I knew that everything worked, it was time to take it apart, and then build it again, but this time inside of the case. This was a little bit annoying, but it was probably for the best, just in case anything had gone wrong. I had built the computer before, but now I had to rebuild it in a much tighter space. But once the motherboard was in, it wasn't too bad. Although it would have been more time efficient to have someone else do it for me while I was building the computer, I didn't want to put anyone through installing drivers, so I did it myself after the build was complete. If it wasn't for Linus Tech Tips' video on how to set up your PC, I don't know if I would have figured it out. It was a pretty convoluted process the whole way through, and really it shouldn't be that hard. Now, all that was left to do was do some cable management. Yay! After it was all put together, I pressed the power button and it didn't turn on. After some fixing, it worked. I don't know how that made a difference at all. Because I didn't have a cord plugged in, so the power button didn't work. I figured this out as I was in the process of making this video. So far, the computer has gone beyond my expectations. It runs games better than I would have hoped, and it is just such an amazing feeling not having to wait like 5 minutes just for the computer to turn on. The new PC is also responsible for helping me edit this video, and it's doing a great job. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing as it helps out a ton, and good gaming to you all. See ya!